Hey everyone, welcome. Today we're looking at something super exciting, a complete explainer on the exact blueprint for student innovation. We hear all the time about these massive tech giants and billion-dollar startups, but did you know some of the absolute biggest disruptors out there, think Facebook or Subway, literally started with students? It's true. Today we're going to unlock the exact process you can use to turn your everyday school environment into a real-life incubator for your very first business. We're diving deep into how to look at your daily life through an entrepreneurial lens, spot the problems hiding in plain sight, and actually build real solutions. And the best part? You absolutely do not need a fancy business degree or a massive budget to pull this off. All right, let's dive right in. So what if your next great idea is just sitting there, buried at the very bottom of your backpack or jammed inside your locker? We're kind of conditioned to think that business ideas are these giant lightning bolts from the sky that only strike adults sitting in boring corporate boardrooms, right? We picture complex lab experiments or raising millions in venture capital. But actually, the truth is way more accessible. Everyday friction, like a jammed locker, totally disorganized study notes, or those endless, brutal cafeteria lines, these are actually disguised entrepreneurial opportunities. It's all about shifting your perspective. You have to flip it from "this is an annoyance" to "this is an opportunity." Think about it for a second. Every major product you use today probably started because someone, somewhere, was just super annoyed by a minor inconvenience and finally decided to fix it. Your school is an absolute goldmine for these minor inconveniences, just waiting to be solved. Which brings us to Section 1, the Blueprint for Student Innovation. So, what exactly is student innovation? Simply put, it's the active investigation of your daily school environment to discover and solve relatable problems. Now, the absolutely crucial word here is active. You really have to strip away the intimidation factor of that word innovation. It isn't some sudden magical event. It really just means walking through your day, looking at the stuff everyone else just accepts as normal, and asking yourself, how could this be better? It's about shifting from being a passive consumer of your school day to becoming an active auditor of it. Instead of just walking past an overflowing trash can or complaining about a really confusing bell schedule, an active investigator pauses and questions the system. Innovation is simply a habit of observation, and it's when you can start practicing the absolute second you step off the school bus. Moving right along to Section 2, what exactly is a business idea? Now, to grasp this, you need a total mindset shift. Imagine a regular student who just can't find a tutor for calculus. They get frustrated, they just kind of accept the problem, and they complain about it to their friends at lunch. We've all been there, right? Well, now imagine an entrepreneur facing that exact same hurdle. Instead of just complaining, their brain immediately pivots to a fix. They think, wait, what if there was a peer-to-peer matching network just for our grade? That's the secret sauce. A business idea, at its core, is really nothing more than a viable, scalable solution to a problem that you and your peers are already dealing with. The only real difference between a complaint and a business idea is the willingness to bridge the gap between that frustration and a solution. When you finally train your brain to stop at, how do we fix this, instead of, ugh, this is terrible, well, you've officially crossed over into the entrepreneur view. And I really want you to internalize this quote. Business isn't just for adults. You already have what it takes. Seriously, you don't need an MBA, you don't need venture capital, and you definitely don't need a fancy corner office. By simply navigating your classes, your clubs, and high school social dynamics, you already possess the absolute most valuable asset an entrepreneur can have, and that is deep insider knowledge of your target demographic. You are literally your own focus group. Think about how much time and money giant companies spend trying to figure out the teenager or college demographic. They spend millions on surveys, but you live it every single day. You've got a captive market of hundreds, maybe thousands of peers right there around you, incredibly low overhead and deep user empathy. Let me tell you, that is a massive competitive advantage. All right, let's get into Section 3, generating your big idea. So how do we actually get the gears turning here? Well, we do it by following a super simple, repeatable 3-step methodology. Step 1 is to notice. Keep a running list on your phone and jot it down every single time you roll your eyes at a daily school frustration. Step 2 is to investigate the root cause. Dig in. Let's say the school parking lot is always a total nightmare. Ask yourself, is it the physical layout? Is it the bell schedule? Or maybe a lack of carpooling incentives? You have to investigate that root cause. Don't just settle for the surface-level symptom. And then Step 3, brainstorm a student-led fix. Come up with a solution, like maybe a carpool matching app for seniors or an assigned parking slot marketplace. This totally takes the abstract, kind of scary concept of inventing something and grounds it in a concrete framework. You find the pain, you diagnose the root, and you cure it. It's a formula you can literally apply to any part of your day. Now, to really help you nail step one, you need to know your idea generation hotspots. These are the specific places where friction is the highest. Think about those chaotic hallways during passing periods where literally everyone is bumping into each other. Or the cafeteria during that wild 12 p.m. lunch rush where the line for pizza is moving at a glacial pace. Think about classrooms right before the bell rings. Or school clubs desperately trying to organize fundraisers with super messy spreadsheets. Even that jammed locker you end up fighting with every single morning. Next time you're standing in one of these spots, switch on that investigative lens we talked about. The friction points driving everyone crazy? Those are unpolished business ideas just waiting for you to claim them. Pay close attention to where people sigh, where they lose time, or where they look completely confused. Those are for sure your hotspots. So the big overarching theme to remember here is that innovation is an active investigation, not a waiting game. Generating incredible ideas requires real momentum. You really can't just sit back in a chair staring at the ceiling, hoping inspiration magically strikes. You have to be deliberate. You got to become a detective in your own school, actively hunting down inefficiencies. If you wait for the perfect idea to just land right in your lap, well, you're going to be waiting a really long time. The greatest entrepreneurs out there, they're just ordinary people who decided to stop waiting and start looking. They're the ones asking why 5 times in a row until they uncover truth that nobody else saw. You need to cultivate that relentless curiosity every single day. And that brings us to our final part, Section 4, the next steps. So as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one big, provocative question. What problem are you going to solve tomorrow? Seriously, tomorrow morning when you walk through those school doors, you're no longer just a student going through the motions. You are an entrepreneur on an active investigation. The blueprint is right there in your hands, and the daily frustrations of your peers are just waiting for your solutions. The absolute beauty of student innovation is that the stakes are incredibly low, but the potential upside, it's limitless. Your school is basically your very own laboratory. So keep your eyes open, stay wildly curious, and go find that next big idea. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and I honestly can't wait to see what you all build.